Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Barbados confirms it's giving up majority ownership in cash-strapped regional airline Liat. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Wednesday, May 5th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. After weeks of speculation about Barbados' future in Liat, Prime Minister Mia Mottley has formally announced plans to sell the country's shares in the regional airline to Antigua and Barbuda. Barbados is Liat's single largest shareholder with 49.4% of the shares, but it's in the midst of an economic recovery and transformation program assisted by the International Monetary Fund. And Prime Minister Mottley told Parliament on Tuesday night that Barbados cannot continue to support Liat in the same way it has for many years.
There is only so much that Barbados can responsibly do at this time, given our current circumstances and our current position on the journey which I referred to just now. Therefore, sir, notwithstanding our absolute commitment to regional air travel, and notwithstanding the fact, sir, and given in fact, the fact that the studies have recommended a different model and restructuring for Liat, and given the inability of the government of Barbados to do for Liat in the next 5 to 10 years what the government of Barbados did for Liat in the last 5 to 10 years, when we moved significantly to assume major shareholder responsibilities, we have taken the determination and decision as a cabinet that it is time for us to step back, while at the same time allowing other governments to continue with their proposal to want to restructure Liat in the way in which they have determined.
The Prime Minister said her government has accepted the Antigua and Barbuda government's offer to take over Barbados' shares. The twin island nation already has 34% ownership of Liat, while Mottley stopped short of saying exactly how many of its shares Barbados would be giving up, although her Antiguan counterpart, Prime Minister Gaston Brown, had previously indicated he received correspondence indicating Barbados wanted to keep at least 10%. Either way, Antigua and Barbuda would become Liat's single largest shareholder. Prime Minister Mottley is hoping negotiations can start soon to reach a deal.
I want to make it clear, Mr. Speaker, absolutely clear, that the government of Barbados is not turning its back on Liat. Indeed, we continue to be committed to Liat and will, one, maintain a minimum shareholding in Liat should we reach an agreement with our sister government for them to take over our shareholding.
Prime Minister Mottley there insisting that the island would not stop supporting Liat. The Prime Minister also disclosed that within the last few weeks, her government sent off a further $1 million Barbados dollars, that's $500,000 US dollars, to Liat, and also satisfied its commitments to the Caribbean Development Bank with respect to the refleeting of the airline. Meantime, Liat's CEO Julie Reefer-Jones says the airline has so far only received about a third of the $5.4 million US dollars in emergency funding that it needs to deal with its financial problems. Management of the airline and shareholder governments have been trying to convince Caribbean countries to put money into the carrier, which remains a vital link in interregional travel, trade and tourism. But Reefer-Jones told ABS Television that the money has been slow in coming.
At this point, I would say we have gotten about 33% of what was requested. And we have a few additional pledges that we are expecting to get in the coming months. So although it has been slow, we are getting some additional support to allow us to continue to operate while we have the discussions with the territories. We are operating in very difficult circumstances, but we are doing the best that we can in these difficult circumstances. We're coming up to our summer period. That's usually a pretty good period for us, and we are hoping to do everything we can to have some positive results during the summer, and that will help to sustain our operation.
The last time Liat was profitable was in 2009, and it's projected to lose another 10 million EC dollars this year. Reefer Jones said the airline is working on a long-term sustainable funding model. That's the minimum revenue guarantee, the MRG model, under which countries would be required to pay when flight loads fall short. Reefer Jones says if the governments don't agree to the MRG, some flights might have to be cut.
If the territories are unwilling to support those flights, then we would make some adjustments to our flight schedule, which could result, we are hoping not, could result in some reduction in flight.
Well, one of the islands that benefits from Liat but makes no contribution is St. Lucia, and Prime Minister Alan Chastanet has been very clear that his government will not be giving a penny to Liat until there are fundamental changes in the way it is structured. Reefer Jones has something to say about that.
The most fundamental issue is that St. Lucia and all the territories are receiving a service. St. Lucia is not contributing to the service that they are receiving. That issue needs to be addressed. Right. Having said that, there is room for improvement in Liat, whether management or otherwise, and this management team is committed to that improvement. We have demonstrated that in terms of the action that we have taken to improve on-time performance and customer service. And right now we are very focused on the internal efficiencies.
The Antigua and Barbuda government has thrown its support behind Ecuador's foreign minister to take over as Secretary General of the Organization of American States, the OAS. Prime Minister Gaston Brown has endorsed Maria Fernanda Espinosa, who is also President of the United Nations General Assembly, for the position. Antigua and Barbuda is among several CARICOM countries that have been critical of the current OAS Secretary General, Luis Almagro, most recently over his support for the opposition in Venezuela, which is trying to oust President Nicolas Maduro from office. Speaking at the dedication of the United Nations Office of Project Services Science and Innovation Park in Antigua, Brown said that while Espinosa has been an inspiration to many, the same could not be said of Almagro. And he was very clear about who he believes would be a better OAS leader.
You know, presently we have a problem with the OAS. We have a Secretary General who is an authority unto himself. He's destroying all of the rules of the OAS, undermining all of the values of the OAS. And I want to signal to all the countries in this hemisphere that perhaps the best person to hold that office at this time is none other than Maria Espinosa.
Speaking directly to Espinosa, who was one of the speakers at the event, Brown put on record Antigua and Barbuda's interest in putting her forward for the top OAS position.
Madam President, I know that your tenure as the PJ will come to an end, and I hope you will consider the offer of Antigua and Barbuda to nominate you jointly with the government of Ecuador to serve as the next Secretary General of the OAS. And that's not an idle request. On the basis that your government would have agreed, Antigua and Barbuda will join you jointly and make a recommendation to get somebody sensible with the skills, with emotional intelligence, and someone who is obviously uniting in her discourse to bring the entire hemisphere together rather than having the present divisive situation that exists at OAS.
Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, a Trinidad and Tobago High Court judge is to decide on whether to accept a plea deal in the corruption case involving a former Attorney General and opposition legislator. Stay with us.
Welcome to this year's 50th Caribbean Broadcast Union Assembly on the island of San Andres. San Andres is a small archipelago located in between Jamaica and Panama in the western Caribbean Sea. A lush, exotic island rich in culture, history, gastronomy, and breathtaking scenic views. Known for its beaches and 7-colored crystalline waters, the island of San Andres will be proudly hosting this year's event. CBU members will enjoy top-of-the-line accommodations for an unforgettable experience in San Andres, connecting Caribbean nations through this year's 50th edition of the CBU Assembly.
Welcome back. A High Court judge in Trinidad will disclose on Thursday whether he will accept a plea agreement between the Director of Public Prosecutions and cooperating witness, Queen's Counsel Vincent Nelson, in the corruption case involving former Attorney General Anand Ramlogan and opposition legislator Gerald Ramdeen. On Tuesday, in a plea agreement hearing from which the media was excluded, Justice Malcolm Haldip heard arguments from both the DPP Roger Gaspard and Nelson's lawyers. We get the details from CNC3's Mark Basant.
Nelson pleaded guilty to 3 conspiracy charges in a legal fees kickback case in which former Attorney General Anand Ramlogan and former UNC opposition Senator Gerald Ramdeen had been charged on May 6th. Director of Public Prosecutions Roger Gaspard made an application for the hearing on the agreement to be held in camera before Justice Malcolm Haldip. The DPP admitted that the Criminal Procedure Act states that such hearings should be open to the public, but it is at the judge's discretion. Gaspard said that the agreement contained Nelson's witness statement in which he allegedly implicated Ramlogan and Ramdeen and provided evidence to the state. Gaspard claimed that if the details of the statement were to be published, it may prejudice the eventual trial of the case, which is still at the preliminary inquiry stage. Responding to the application, Nelson lawyer Thomas Allen QC strongly agreed. He also suggested that the information contained in the statement may lead to threats on Nelson's life. Haldip eventually agreed with both attorneys and granted their applications. The media and the lawyers not connected to the matter were ordered to leave. Legal sources said that during the remainder of the hearing, Haldip heard submissions over whether he should accept the plea agreement. Under the legislation, before Haldip accepts, he must ensure that Nelson did not receive an improper inducement and that he, Nelson, understands the consequences of the agreement. Haldip will give his decision when the case comes up for hearing on Thursday at 1 p.m. Nelson, who is currently on a $100,000 bail and has been granted permission to travel back to the United Kingdom, was brought to the High Court in a heavily tinted SUV that was driven underground. Nelson was represented by QC Thomas Allen and the local attorney Roger Kewal Singh.
The CDB says the region needs to step up efforts to meet the Sustainable Development Goals, and one anti-money laundering organization says the Caribbean is still not compliant enough. We get the details in this week's Newsline Business.
President of the Caribbean Development Bank, Dr. Warren Smith, says the Caribbean is running out of time to meet the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Dr. Smith was addressing the CDB's annual Board of Governors meeting in Trinidad on Wednesday. He said the bank's borrowing member countries are on the right track, but they need to step up their reform agenda.
We have to acknowledge, ladies and gentlemen, that our region is off track in delivering on the promise of prosperity and social justice for our people. Unemployment remains at unacceptably high levels in many of our countries. Economic, social, and environmental vulnerabilities are increasing. Citizen security is under threat, and poverty levels are not falling fast enough. These difficulties have been exacerbated, as we have heard before, by lackluster economic growth, unsustainable national indebtedness, and weak fiscal management.
One anti-money laundering organization says the Caribbean has fallen behind in meeting standards set by the Financial Action Task Force. The issue of compliance was the focus of a recent anti-financial crime symposium in Barbados. Executive Director of the Association of Certified Anti-Money Laundering Specialists, Rick McDonnell, told Newsline Business that as much as half of the countries in the region are not adequately compliant.
So for money laundering or anti-money laundering, we need to have strong laws in place. We need to have a financial intelligence unit that receives suspicious transactions reported by the banks or other institutions, and other frameworks to help to make sure that there are tools available. And in terms of Barbados and most other countries in the region, those tools are available to a reasonable degree.
Mary-Claire Williams, Newsline Business.
Ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies are ready to take on ICC Cricket World Cup defending champions Australia. We'll be right back.
Welcome to this year's 50th Caribbean Broadcast Union Assembly on the island of San Andres. San Andres is a small archipelago located in between Jamaica and Panama in the western Caribbean Sea. A lush, exotic island rich in culture, history, gastronomy, and breathtaking scenic views. Known for its beaches and 7-colored crystalline waters, the island of San Andres will be proudly hosting this year's event. CBU members will enjoy top-of-the-line accommodations for an unforgettable experience in San Andres, connecting Caribbean nations through this year's 50th edition of the CBU Assembly.
Well, joining us now direct from New York City is Mr. Warren Wang. Warren is the CEO of ChineseInvestors.com Incorporated. CIIX is a stock symbol. Warren, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Donald. How are you?
Well, thank you. I'm doing terrific. Now, we have a special treat this week. You're going to give us a tour of your New York City offices.
Sure. Here's our CBD division. I just want to explain to our viewers, we just hit
West Indies captain Jason Holder says his charges are ready to take on Cricket World Cup defending champions Australia in their second match of the tournament on Thursday. The contest is expected to be interesting in light of the fact that both teams have won their opening matches easily. Holder says the Caribbean men are ready for their next challenge.
Yeah, when we bat, we just want to execute our batting plans. You know, we've all seen the way the world cricket has gone in the last couple of months, last 2 years per se. and there've been some high totals and there've been some aggressive stroke play. You know, if the pitch is conducive to that, you know, we just want to be as positive as we possibly can be. I think whether we bat first or if we chase, you know, we've got to show intent. You know, intent is something that we spoke about in dressing room, and it's something we just want to go with, you know, when we go into our innings. So yeah, I don't want to get too caught up with the conditions, but at the end of the day, we just want the guys to show intent and be fearless.
Holder echoed the sentiments of head coach Floyd Reefer, who said the West Indies intend to play fearless cricket.
I think when we overcome that hurdle, then we'll move deeper into the tournament, you know. But I just don't want to single out teams particularly. I think all teams are evenly matched and well balanced, you know. So it's just a matter of playing good cricket on any given day, and you know that's our role. You know, we want to execute in all three departments.
The first ball bowls off at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Caribbean time. That's 4:30 in Jamaica. A classy century by stroke maker Rohit Sharma led India to a 6-wicket victory over South Africa at the Hampshire Bowl as action in the ICC Cricket World Cup continued on Wednesday. Batting first after winning the toss, the Proteas could only muster 227 for 9, with lower order batsman Chris Morris knocking 42 from 34 balls, while Faf du Plessis chipped in with 38. Indian off-spinner Yuzvendra Chahal did the damage, picking up figures of 4 for 51, while medium pacers Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Jasprit Bumrah took 2 wickets each. Here are the highlights.
Better length, beautiful line, bit of zip, good safe catch. He's got it! That's a sharp catch from Virat Kohli. That one he plays superbly, short, a little bit of width, finds the gap. Oh, he's knocked him over middle stump. Van der Dusen. Dangerous invitation, it's beautifully bowled. Big over this for India. Oh, what about that one? Yeah.
That's a very good shot. Head over extra cover, one bounce into the fence.
Oh, there he goes. The leg spinner comes back and takes a wicket straight away. Right, he's gone for the big one. And will clear the field. Oh, well, he was that far down the ground. One of the easiest dumpings MS Dhoni would have ever made in his career. Morris not going to let that one go.
Yeah, probably his first bad delivery, Chahal.
Tremendous strike. Oh, what a powerful flat hit that is. It's safe, I think. No, yes, just a bit too much for Bumrah to do. Almost a harder catch for him, actually. That is, oh, wow, nicely taken. Virat Kohli makes cricket look easy, doesn't he? Rabada. Glorious stroke. And that'll be caught, and that'll end the innings.
Although dropped on 1 early in India's reply, Sharma went on to smash an unbeaten 122 from 144 deliveries, taking his side over the line with plenty of time to spare.
And that's in the gap. 4 more.
Oh, he felt it there. It was middle of the bat, dragged down from Pex Laquire, hit through mid wickets.
Oh, he's got it. He has got it. That is a wonderful catch, not at the middle, this time of the edge. Pex Laquire will celebrate. This could be a big, big moment in the game. There is a fielder there. Oh, look for a major part of that he'd get there.
Use of the feet. It's gone way back into the stands.
Nothing you can do about a bad ball, though. That takes the partnership past 50 and brings the crowd to their feet. Oh, lovely touch. Waited and waited and got so much bat on it, there's nothing the field can do. Never had to hit it hard. That's quality.
Chance at mid-off. And
Move to keep her body in the attack has worked. Duplessis takes the catch at middle.
Might be thinking about boundaries, but there's one for you. A drag down, doesn't pull it across to the leg side, just hammers it straight back. Beautifully played. They brought the man in from square leg, decided to go for the short pitch delivery. Nothing better than just start off the World Cup. Your first innings at the crease with 100. A quality performance from Rohit Sharma.
Now more runs on the onside. It's a big chase. It's going to be in vain. Right, he might just have got the wicket. He might just have... Oh, no! He hasn't. Now, is someone going to take this? Morris says, leave it to me. I'll handle it all by myself. Oh, he breaks the stumps, but he hangs on. He hangs on. Oh, he'll play shots and he'll play them very crisply. Yes, Hardik Pandya will carve that away for 4. And India start their World Cup campaign.
Trinidad and Tobago foiled Japan's attempts in their international friendly, which ended in a scoreless draw at Toyota Stadium on Wednesday. Japan, ranked 26th in the world, attacked relentlessly, but could not get on the scoreboard against the 93rd ranked Caribbean side, whose keeper Marvin Phillip was on the ball. With Japan completely dominant in midfield, the visitors were unable to maintain possession for long throughout the first half, and although Japan failed to score, it was not from lack of trying. Phillip repeatedly turned away first-half shots set up by a steady salvo of deadly accurate crosses into the penalty area. He was again put to the test in a 30-second rush that saw him deflect an 85th-minute strike from Japan captain Geiku Shibasaki, tip away a roller seconds later, and then stop a shot from Sho Genji. Starved of the ball while his teammates were under pressure, Trinidad forward Levi Garcia had the best chance of the first half, but was blocked by Japan's Daniel Schmidt. The American-born Vigalta Sendai goalkeeper then stopped a point-blank header off the ensuing corner. Wednesday's match was TNT's penultimate warm-up international before the 2019 CONCACAF Gold Cup. They'll play their final friendly against Canada on June 10th. And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
I was late for today's shoot, and I have to be honest, it's because my good friends at Mazda dropped off one of these amazing new MX-5s. And wow, what a machine. It totally connects with my DNA. Sports car, top down, I mean, what a machine. I'll tell you, go drive one. It might make you late for a lot of things, too. So we're here back in Denver. We're here at my good friend Mike Boston's place, Elevation Motors, here in Lakewood. And I have to tell you, Mike and Andreas are great friends.
So if you is a real one and a sight that I go make you know as I should. Now wait till you're gone, Jesse Royal, the lion.
Pase lo que pase, no te voy a llamar. Ya yo me quité, tú nunca me vas a amar.
Again, the major developments of this day: Barbados confirms it's giving up majority ownership in Liat, and in sport, West Indies ready to take on ICC Cricket World Cup defending champions Australia. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, subscribe to canonnews.com, and for more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and good night.